just met Noddy enjoying the peace and quiet of the nursery, but he was getting too big and boisterous. It was time for him to move on. Every morning, around 200 rescued orangutans are led into the forest for their day at forest school. Here, under the watchful eye of the babysitters, they can learn all about their natural surroundings. Wild orangutans can stay with their mothers for 8 years before they're confident enough to make it on their own. But every one of these forest school orangutans is an orphan. It makes the long and difficult road to becoming an independent orangutan so much harder. No wonder Noddy looked a bit overwhelmed.
Hey, Nod. What is all this? This is a big tree root, isn't it? Yes, it is. This is a big guy, yeah? You've never seen him this big before, have you?
It was amazing to see how quickly Noddy adapted to life in forest school. But he wasn't quite ready for this. Runa, one of the largest orangutans in forest school, was playing truant from her own group. With so many orangutans in the forest, it's hard for the babysitters to keep track of them all the time. She was easily 3 times Noddy's size and can be too rough with these little ones. Luckily, Runa was only after a juicy papaya. But seeing this giant on his first day really knocked Noddy's confidence. There was still so much for Noddy to learn. Rehabilitating all these orphans is a real challenge. It'll be 5 years in forest school before Noddy's anywhere near ready to face the world as a wild orangutan. It had been a good first day, but Noddy looked exhausted.
Marley here is new in class. He missed his first few days because of malaria, and last time on Orangutan Diary, we saw him finally well enough to join his new classmates. He's having a tough time and looks like he could still do with a few days' rest. Things are a bit more boisterous out here, but Marley doesn't seem to mind being the classroom plaything. But there are some unwelcome visitors moving in. Even though they're small, these wild macaques aren't afraid of tackling the bigger orangutans and can be really aggressive. A few weeks ago, Robert, another orangutan in forest school, was badly bitten, and he's a pretty big boy. Marley is still very weak and needs to avoid getting involved. Luckily, one of his larger classmates seems to be looking out for the little ones. With trouble brewing, Marley makes a sharp exit, and his saviour moves into position and takes up arms. While the macaques are sorting out a few unresolved issues of their own, it's the perfect time to sneak up. That'll teach them. Some scientists believe orangutans are more intelligent than chimps. They have culture and use tools. They make rain hats from leaves, use twigs to winkle out ants, and thankfully for Marley, can also wield a large stick. It's this intelligence that also enables a hungry orangutan to remember which trees are fruiting in the forest and where to find them. But if you're going to use tools, it's a good idea to hold on to them. Macaques may be small, but they've got guts. And now they've pinched the stick. But at least they're leaving Marley alone. He barely looks like he could make it out of a paper bag. Let's hope he can stay out of trouble long enough to make a full recovery. Unfortunately, finding safe places to release these orangutans is increasingly difficult. It's hard to say how long they could be waiting here. But until a permanent wild home can be found, at least the islands give them an independence and a quality of life they would never have in a cage. One orangutan who probably appreciates this more than most is Hercules.
Before he was rescued, Hercules was kept in such a tiny cage, it left him permanently crippled. He'll never have full use of his hands and feet, which means he can't live on these islands all year round. Without being able to climb, he could drown when the water level rises during the rains. For half the year, he sits in a cage at the centre. But now, with the river low, Lona can watch her old friend enjoying a taste of freedom.
You smell so much nicer when you're out here than you do in the cage. You smell so much nicer. No, not two hands. One hand is enough. I'm so used to having him behind bars. You only use one hand, okay? One hand, one hand, one hand. One hand. Okay?
He's very gentle, Lona, isn't he?
He is very gentle, but, you know, I wouldn't say that let's say if he got a hold of my leg or my arm, like really good hold of me, he's not going to let me go. He's going to keep me here for a few days and wander me up and down the beaches. The males do that on Kaji Island. They sort of they change females quite frequently, and they actually sort of like take them on strolls along the beach. It looks like sort of like Baywatch or something sometimes. Just need the little red trunks and the bathing suits.
But Hercules may not be the beach bum Lona thinks. For the first time ever, he's been spotted climbing in the trees. It could be a life-changing moment for Hercules.
If we have a long dry season here, my hopes really are that he'll be able to get some physiotherapy for his feet by climbing. And who knows, if he does really well and he actually managed to move, you know, between trees, we might keep him out here even during the rainy season. It is almost like, you know, you're not putting a human being in prison for the rainy season or for the winter sort of thing. I mean, for him, sitting in a cage is just like for a human being in prison. There's nothing for him to do. Even though we give him lots of enrichment and stuff, it's still not the same as being out here where he can, you know, there's other orangutans, there's females, he can try and catch. He hasn't quite managed to do that yet. You know, there's lots of things to stimulate him here, whereas it's not just, it is very much a prison sentence to have them sitting in a cage, and we would rather not do that.
Theory of mind is this general idea that I can understand that my thoughts are different than someone else's, or in fact everyone else's, and that I have a sense of self that I recognize is different than everyone else. And one of the easiest ways to demonstrate that is being able to recognize yourself in a mirror.
Mirror self-recognition is not an ability humans are born with. To demonstrate this, Rob has gathered together some very young volunteers and secretly daubed them with a spot of paint.
Where's the mirror? Where's the mirror?
If they use the mirror to examine the spot, they'll demonstrate that they understand that the image in the mirror is themselves.
We just don't expect mirror self-recognition much before a year and a half old or even 2 years old. We did test one child who was a little bit over 3 years old, and she instantly recognized the spot on her forehead, and that's exactly what you would expect. Now, that's something that a 2-year-old simply can't do.
So if young humans can't do it, how good are orangutans at self-recognition? To find out, Rob installs a two-way mirror in the lab. Meanwhile, Rob's colleague, Carol Schwartz, prepares Azy and his female friend, Kenobi.
She's always interested in the mirror. She's always interested in activities, so I think she'll be quite good today.
Kenobi is the first to take the test.
This is the clearest marker I've ever seen.
Kenobi passes with flying colours.
Why don't you just have the cup?
But shy, retiring Azy has never bothered much with mirrors before.
Thank you.
His reaction to the mirror may be altogether more fleeting and subtle.
Azy has never had a mark test, to my knowledge. So he may or may not pass the mark test. We'll find out.
He went right through that.
Although Azy was less flamboyant than Kenobi, his reaction is clear.
When we look at the responses, Kenobi's was extraordinarily easy to interpret. Azy's was a bit more subtle, but I think still convincing.
Azy's capacity to recognise himself as well as long-lost friends shows that orangutans are far more aware than previously thought.
It's hoped that one day even the orphaned orangutans raised in forest school can make a similar journey. But Lona's priority is to get adult orangutans like Mustafa out first. He's had minimal human contact, so a better chance of survival. Unfortunately, with so many wild orangutans coming in, the forest school orangutans are continually bumped to the back of the queue. In fact, right now, it's hard to see them ever reaching the front.
Are you being a little bit brave here now, are you? Look at this big guy.
In a strange way, these orangutans are lucky. They were rescued from marginal and rapidly shrinking patches of forest, where eventually they would have been killed or starved to death. But now they're heading to one of the largest areas of safe orangutan habitat left in Borneo. Airlifting 25 orangutans into one of the remotest and most inaccessible forests on Earth is a logistical nightmare for Lona. There are so many people, agencies and departments involved, and it only takes one link to fail for the chain to break and send her back to square one. The release has already been delayed by over 2 months. And some of these orangutans have spent nearly a year in a cage waiting for this flight. Lona is desperate to get them back out quickly while they're still wild. But nothing can be left to chance, especially when you've got powerful orangutans like Mustafa on a small plane.
We haven't had anybody who's tried to escape yet, so I'm not too worried about it, but because he is a hormonal male, and we're going to be 50 minutes on that flight, I really do not want him to sort of like break out. I mean, him escaping, you know, being in mid-air, I'm not quite sure the captain is going to appreciate that. But these hormonal males are just like almost impossible to predict what they're going to do.